Harmony. This is the Paladin channel. Meditation is a process. Its proper name is mental culture. The purpose is to move our mind, as in mind control. That is, we decide what the mind is going to be shaped like because we determine that a better path exists, that there's a lot of chatter and strange things that go on here. The province of mind, when you sit down and meditate, becomes your veritable open book. It's taking you to very strange places. And not too many people really have to be convinced about that. Some people give themselves up to their mind. Some people give themselves up to bad mental states. I certainly have. Over a year ago, I was not in a good place. And my mind had gone into directions that were not beneficial, were not benevolent. I said they were to myself, but I had been propagating a great deal of conflict, and sorrow was its result. Not just for me, but for others, people I cared about. With the determination that this should be other, I resumed some former practices, and I'd like to share them with you. The one that comes to mind most readily, the one that's seen and practiced by a lot of people, is that of breathing. One counts the breaths. An in-breath and an out-breath is regarded as one, and some people will use a device like mala beads, and with the mala bead one can count a single breath with a single bead, and this happens to have 21 beads on it. Going all the way around once is 21. So in the breathing, the in-breath and the out-breath being as one, you slowly go around the rosary, or if you just want to count in your head 1 to 10, that's fine. Or if you just wanted to do this without counting, but pay attention to the breath. The reason for this is that the breath is vital. My teacher said it's what separates us from death. This one breath right now is all that separates you from your death. So it is. It's really rather profound. And we know that the dead do not breathe, nor can they do anything else, but alive and vital. We can accomplish things, and we can better accomplish things if we have a better mind. And following the breath tends to tame the mind. It reins it in and brings it where it can see. Oh yes, I've got quite the monkey mind. The monkey mind being the mind that goes here and there, all over the place. We've perhaps been to zoos or been treated to monkeys in the wild on TV or some media, and we can see that they're rather acrobatic fellows and girls, and they go around and do all kinds of things, and you wonder what they're about. Same thing could be said about our own thoughts. So in the circles of meditation, monkey mind is the regular conscious mind of somebody who is not concerned about reining that in. So we can say that even some of the world's greatest minds might have monkey mind. That's not to say that they're inferior. It's just that they hadn't cared to take the time to meditate and see what goes on in the head. In breathing, we do an in-breath and out-breath just as a regular breath. We don't force it. And we start our count from 1 to 10. And as it's a regular breath, we might notice that by the time we've reached number 10, our breathing is slowed. And our breathing is slowed because we've settled things in our own mind. We're far less anxious. And you can actually calm yourself. It's a good way to cultivate patience. If you combine this with, say you go to the store and there's a line of 5 people or more, and you're waiting at the checkout, practice the breathing. That will help to cultivate patience. You're at a stoplight or traffic is stalled. Again, take this opportunity. It's not going to take your mind away from what's doing or what's necessary for you to be safe. It's just that instead of saying, well, what the heck am I doing here? Why can't that joker move on? He's going way too slow. No. You say, what is my mind up to today? Ah, my old friend, breath. You and I have been courting a long time. We're companions. Here you are, here I am. We're together in harmony. Patience will come with meditation, and you know the effects of impatience. Everybody has had these, everybody's suffered these, and impatience, when has that helped? So that's one fundamental meditation, and that can be done at any time, or you could formally sit down. You can even make a little shrine. A shrine doesn't have to be complex. Just something as a matter of devotion, a single candle to set an atmosphere, a stick of incense that's common, something you like, as long as it's pleasant and is prone to be unbroken. Turn the devices off and just sit there and do your session. Perhaps 10 minutes at the beginning and work your way to longer. It's not necessary to sit in a formal pose. You can do it in a chair as long as your posture allows your spine to be erect, like a stack of coins. Doing that is important because it allows for the proper flow of breath, that your abdomen can go in and out. There are such things as chest breathers. If that's what you're comfortable with, I won't discourage you from that. But with this, you can develop a daily practice if there's a quiet time of day, or if you can spare time or go out of doors, or if there's some refuge, a space you can go to. Outdoors is wonderful, and I'll touch upon that several times in the future. The matter of breathing as meditation is something that should be brought up with an intention. Intention is part of meditation, and you can cite to yourself or out loud what your intentions are. My intention is to be better in this world. And I want to be better by having a better mind. I want to have a better mind by being calmer. And I want to be calmer, one of the ways, through the device of meditation. And it's good at the end of the meditation session to dedicate your efforts. This is for the betterment of myself, and through what I can do and through what I refrain from doing, may it better others. better the environment? May I be more mindful? Mindfulness is a subject of itself, but in terms of things that we do, this is chief for the spiritual aspirant to sit down and smooth the waters, the rough waters. The storm need not be here, and we can engage in the quiet of mind. Now, thoughts will not stop. Nobody's going to sit there. You might have a statue of a meditating monk or Buddha or some figure. That statue will not have thoughts. You will have thoughts. But as the thought comes, you just refocus on your breathing. Remember, oh yes, the in-breath. It's important to remember that to take these practices of meditation, one is not going to have all kinds of good effects right from the get-go. That it gradually manifests. But it's not like a diet where you're going to take some time to get where you want to go with it. It is a process of shedding thoughts that are no longer deemed beneficial. That you make a habit, you cultivate a practice, but at the very beginning, like I say, you can have the immediate knowledge that after that 10th breath, you're already calmer. And that, considering how hectic modern life is, can only be construed as a victory, in my view. So with that kind of meditation is good. There is also meditations on figures, deities, learned beings, high beings. And then there's also meditation on compassion, where compassionate action is the objective. And so one thinks about the other. And there's a particular meditation called sending receiving, where you focus on a particular individual. And as you're sitting there breathing, you can say, with the out-breath, I am going to send all of my good thoughts, my good wishes, my aspirations, anything I've won in terms of spirit to that person. And with the in-breath, you take in everything that's negative of theirs and bring it into yourself to remove it from them. This is one of those activities that can be very eye-opening. And it places the meditator in a position of actually working compassionate thought, to trying to understand the problems of others in a heartfelt way, in a way that unites heart and mind. And with this kind of a practice, we may increase our compassion, particularly when we see somebody who is ailing. And these days, considering how packed parking lots are around hospitals every day, I live in a sick country where illness is quite a big business. And we can focus on ills in particular in our practice and make that a habit of meditation. That we do not become numb to things, that we do not become such a kind of a person that just doesn't care about what happens to other people, doesn't care about these things. Though you may not be able to intervene and correct things, that isn't always possible, of course. But what happens is that we can bring ourselves into spaces where maybe one day we can. With that, this has been Paladin Carl.